Beseech the Mirror is doing some incredibly broken things. Turn 1 wins will happen in this video. I'll see you there. Okay, welcome back, Vintage Gamers. Special Friday prelim stream. We're going to take the Beseech the Mirror combo deck and run it through a prelim, which is a medium level event on Magic Online that typically features some of the best grinders on the platform. A prelim can end up being harder than a challenge just because most players who are in a prelim are pretty dedicated to playing on Magic Online, which means they get a lot of reps in, and which means they typically are some of the stronger players on the platform. So we're going to just take the same list that we played in the beginning, the blue-black Beseech the Mirror Tinker deck, and the only changes is the Karn and a Dismember in the sideboard are becoming Mind Break traps to fight the massive amount of influx of combo decks. There's a lot of combo decks, a lot of Beseech the Mirrors running around. Definitely want Trap for the Mirror. Trap is very, very good against Beseech because Beseech is 2 different spells, so that you get up to 3 spells really, really quickly, because you normally have to cast Dark Ritual to cast Beseech anyways. So if you cast Dark Ritual and then you cast Beseech and then you cast the spell off of Beseech, you can just trap the spell off of Beseech. So nothing new, nothing crazy here. I really like the look of this deck. I like having the blue count required to play Force of Will. I like having a pretty low land count, but using Lorien Revealed to up the land count so that you can actually use these sagas. And then, yeah, everything so far has made me really happy. The cards that I'm like least happy about are probably Time Twister and Shieldred. Those are the cards that I'm currently looking at maybe becoming other cards, but they are pretty nice in conjunction with some of the other stuff that's going on in our deck. It's nice to be able to like have a really interesting sideways plan, plan B that you can sometimes Beseech for in certain matchups. Shieldred obviously works really well with Citadel and Top. And the One Ring, of course. And then having Twister to go with the Shieldred means you actually have a 1-2 punch with your Shieldred in your deck. And Twister, on its own is okay in these kind of heavy Moxen combo shells. You can just deploy a lot of cards on turn 1 and maybe Twister on turn 2. And also, Twister being a blue card, we have to supplement our blue count, which is at 10, 14, 18, 20 right now, which is not a bad place to be. I think 20 is pretty reasonable for this kind of deck. Like when you start to get into like a more controlling deck, like a Doomsday deck, then you want to be like around 22. If you become like an all-in combo deck and you're like a jewel deck, 18, 16, those decks went down to like 16, but I think like 18 is a pretty good number for those kind of decks. So this deck being at 20 and somewhere in the middle makes a lot of sense to me. So we're gonna play this through a prelim and see how it goes. I'll catch you for round 1. Are you interested in weekly vintage metagame recommendations? Do you want to see your deck list played on my channel? Or maybe you are just looking for the best way to support my vintage content? Make sure you check out the Patreon link in the description below. Let's battle. Okay, here we go, round 1. We're jumping right in, a couple minutes down because I had to finish work. But we're ready to go. Our hand has a turn 1 Tinker with nothing else, but I almost always am okay with that. Present the way to win the game, and if your opponent can beat it, they can beat it. If they can't, then they die. Like that. Keep. F6 value. You love to see it. Saga Gamer. Mad Moxen. Drew the Force. It's kind of unfortunate. Maybe it will protect my Beseech later. I'm pretty just into still casting Tinker anyways. Here you could make a Soul Read on there, the Grataxian Probe in real life, right? But, oh, nice, a Resolver. Okay, well, I don't think I need to play around Storm, but I'd rather play... I don't think I need to play for Storm, but I'd rather like play around my opponent having stuff. This is not the worst card to brick on, considering it lets me go into my opponent's turn with the Force up. I'm pretty okay with that. in terms of things that like could get me stuck, this is one of the best ones. Like you'd be painful if it was a land, a saga, misstep. Those kind of cards are a lot worse than force on top. I like the spot we're currently in. Obviously, we're gonna be able to untap here with a force, or sorry, with a citadel. And even if they don't make us use the force, we'll have a force in our hand too. This deck is like an okay citadel deck. It's not the best citadel deck. I could force this Black Lotus, keep them off of blue mana. I don't think that's worth doing. Though, like, Time Walk is pretty good here. Tinker, sure. Force. See if they have Fluster backup for their Tinker too. No, they're off it. Okay, cool. I like to see that. Let's just check out our top cards. This gets us to cast Beseech, right? So not too bad. Okay, so all we know is opponent is on or is a Saga Tinker deck, which is what opponent is normally on. Powerful wizard that they are. So we don't really get too much besides maybe just bringing in an opposition agent. And then taking out this Twister, which I think looks pretty bad. And I think this Chain of Vapor looks pretty bad, so I might just bring in a piece of removal. Opponent likes to play creatures in their deck. Could bring in just a trap as well. Maybe we'll just bring a trap instead. And just play like this. Let's try that. I don't remember. I haven't done the intro yet because I'm behind. I just got out of work in time for the prelim, so can't remember if I made any changes. I feel like I did, but I can't remember what they were. So, all right. So this hand is pretty bad. I think we have a Citadel and Tendrils, and even though we have a Force and a Saga, I think I'll just put this back and look for a better 6. This hand has turn 1 for Ring with Force backup, so definitely keeping it. Put the Citadel back. See, nice part about this ring in terms of 4 mana threats on turn 1 is I can't get Flusterstormed, which is a big deal. Like I could cast this Beseech here, and it's probably a lethal Beseech to be perfectly honest. Between like the different outlets we can choose to use for this, but the fact that I'm playing into a Flusterstorm is just silly, really silly. So let's just play a ring. All right, they had a Force. Can't beat Force and Fluster here, unfortunately. I think I'm willing to get rid of the Brainstorm. I think it's better for me if I have a Force in my hand if this all works out. And I think I want to play towards it working out. So they did have a Fluster. Okay. So they had Force Fluster. So they're down to 2 cards. I'm down to 2 cards, but they have a better mana situation, and my cards in my hand are bad. I could have kept a Brainstorm, obviously, but I think this would have been slightly better if I had just gotten rid of... Sorry, if I just, like... If I resolve the 1 ring, I definitely want to have the Force in my hand and not the Brainstorm. So they have a Saga. We have a Saga. They are 1 turn ahead, and they might have a mana source. We currently don't have a mana source. See if they have a mana source, of course. They might not. Unfortunately, we've used our Lotus, so that's that would be typically our best Saga target. Ooh, opponent did have another Saga. It's quite bad for us. Sagas don't typically matter in the combo mirror unless they matter, in which case they matter a lot. I think it's kind of weird because this deck is kind of a bad Saga deck in the fact that it doesn't really utilize constructs very well. But it's pretty good Saga deck in the fact that it utilizes Black Lotus really well. Not a bad draw, though. It opens us up to some really nice draws. Even drawing any blue card makes this draw better, too. Opponent opting to make mana, see if they get additional mana for their Saga activations, and they go full Constructs route. Opponent typically likes to play a fairer version of Saga Tinker. I would not be surprised if opponent goes the Constructs route. Lavinia. So I can't kill this Lavinia if I let it resolve, which I think is a good enough reason to force it. Ooh, wow. They had their 1-of strip mine. Well, we don't know if it's a 1-of strip mine. They could technically be playing more, but I think it's a 1-of strip mine. That is a nightmare situation here. Damn, we would have drawn the blue card for our Force of Will. But at least this dress down like could theoretically save the game from construct tokens, which is nice. Any blue land is going to let me get this board stalled back out. See if opponent goes for like a top or if they go for a key. Looks like a top. Yeah, I mean, a good spot for the opponent. I think a fair Esper Tinker deck is actually a pretty nice place to be right now. Lavinia is definitely strong in the current metagame. All right, nice. Once opponent cracks this Sensei's top at end of turn, we will crack this dress down. This is just making sure I don't get Force of Willed. It's very important that this resolves. So it does give them more information to work with before they, before using their top trigger, but it's better that I make sure this resolves. Nice. And then I get my own Saga. Okay. I mean, this game is still winnable. Unfortunately, my opponent does have a top. So if they like find some good cards on top of their library, they have black and white mana and blue mana. So they can like cast Tinker, Mentor, it's another Lavinia. Yeah, man, Lavinia stopping this will be like pretty crazy Yogg-Will. Unfortunate. Not right now, but like the next turn it would be a pretty crazy Yogg-Will. If we... I don't know. Might be tough. Lavinia is so good against our deck, though. I think Lavinia is just really, really good into the current metagame. So it makes a lot of sense to play this kind of deck. Oh, found something off of their top. Maybe just a rebuy. Maybe they found a probe and they just wanted to cycle through and see my hand. Yeah, maybe that's what happened. Oop, Lotus, though. Any good follow-up? Beseech right here would be game winning. Just a thought. Beseech, when you can cast it, is typically game winning, so. Sensei's top. Can't cast that right away because we're going to make Saga tokens, but it will stop our opponents attacking with our 9 life. Unfortunately, the Saga going away is going to be problematic because it means we're further away from casting our spells. I don't have a good answer in my deck to Lavinia. I probably should play a Caracas or like a Cut Down or something because Dismember is just not it against Lavinia. That's kind of an oversight in deck building, probably. It's probably a Cut Down, if I had to guess, is the correct answer. I really don't like playing Cut Down, but it's fine. Especially when I don't have like as many fetch lands as a normal deck. I kind of have to, right? So I can't like play Fatal Push or something. Ah, yes. I added Membrane Traps because I was facing a lot of combo. A lot of combo. That makes sense. Yeah, I can't imagine we come out of this game ahead. Opponent just had their sagas first, and even though I answered their sagas, this top kind of generated a little bit too much value, and then the second Lavinia was just kind of backbreaking. Also, we drew our cards in the wrong order, right? We had to pitch our Ancestral the Force of Will before we could get our blue source off of Saga. Kind of unfortunate situation. Okay, opponent has a Brainstorm. There's no way they attack and trade. This Lavinia, they know this Lavinia is locking down my entire hand because they probed us. I don't really feel like these constructs are going to be good enough to win the game either, which is really unfortunate, but Tinker also no good in this situation. I just can't cast anything because of Lavinia. I'm just not going to be able to cast things because of Lavinia for probably the rest of the game. Did I bring in Needle? No. Kind of interesting that Needle on top here is probably a reasonable play. What I'm going to end up doing is just getting a mana source and casting this Sensei's top. But it's really unfortunate. I have all of the best cards in my hand. They're all game-winning cards because my opponent probably doesn't have any counter magic left, but I just can't cast any of them. And I'm just not going to be able to cast them. I think I'm just going to get a jet. Kind of need these constructs to be good enough. And by kind of, I mean I really need these constructs to be good enough. This looks like a spin on upkeep angle. To make sure that I find a artifact that I can I mean, how many artifacts are there that I can actually cast? It's like just Soul Ring, right? I might not even be able to make this lethal. Even if I try. Opponent's gonna get a ton of looks here. Fetch land, spins. I guess now they're lethal, so that's actually good for me. Actually, my opponent's in a really bad spot now. They have to find something good off this top spin because they have to chump block these construct tokens, and then we just cast Yogwill and win. Wow, we actually just won the game from here. My opponent bricked off as hard as possible here. They just like missed on 12 looks or something insane. Just crazy, crazy misses. I think you play this game out from the same position like 3 turns ago, and the number of times we win with a Resolve Lavinia in play is like 1 out of 50 tops. Maybe 1 out of 20, maybe 1 out of 20. That sounds a little bit better. I think we just got incredibly lucky here. Just incredibly lucky. Okay, round 2 vintage prelim. We got the Zoomer King, Bullwinkle. Maybe not the Zoomer King anymore. Maybe just a powerful Zoomer, I should say. This hand has turn 1 Beseech with force backup. Yeah. I accept. This is probably a Beseech for Necro, unless we hit a Moxen, in which case we can Beseech for Tinker. If we hit a blue card, we can probe. Yeah, there's a lot of good draws in our deck. How sweet has Beseech been? Pretty strong. Pretty strong. It's definitely strong. My thing is, it's like very vulnerable card. It's definitely more of an all-in card, but it does like does a very powerful thing. Drew a key, which is actually not something that I can use to Beseech off of right now. So I have to Beseech. Is there with a pedal? I wonder if we have a lethal Beseech with Storm. Let's do a quick maths here. 1 spell, 2 spells, 3 spells. Yogwill is your 4th spell. Pedal is your 5th spell. Dark Ritual is your 6th spell. You can't really cast Siege, so that doesn't work. It could just be Necro. Could just be Shieldred. Though anything we do would involve sacking our Urza's Saga. We could just wait. If we wait, we can maybe just go for Volt Key. Might even just be better. Yeah, on our next turn, we can just Beseech straight for Volt Key with force backup, so that's probably better anyways. Does give them more opportunities to draw Fluster, though. Not much we can really do about that, besides going more all-in on turn 1, which I don't really want to do anyways. If we had drawn a blue card, I would have probed. It would have been a lot easier. Or if we had drawn an artifact, then we could have gone for Beseech Tinker, which I probably also would have done. All right, now they know my hand. It's really hard to resolve Beseech the Mirror if your opponent plays Flusterstorm for what it's worth. Flusterstorm is just gross against the Beseech. You almost never have enough mana for that to be like something you can really beat. Is this a PO? We're playing PO in the year of our Lord, 2023? Just Esper PO? I love it. They know my hand, so... They have Flusterstorm. They have Force, blue card backup to Fairy. So they're going to draw 5 and then replay with blue mana? Okay. Hopefully they draw all lands. Opponent did the same thing as we were doing, basically. Just their payoff spell was a PO and our payoff spell was a Beseech. It looks like we would have been able to... Obviously, we would have been able to resolve our Beseech on turn 1 if we had cast it, but all we would have gotten off of it is probably an Necropotence and just redrew our hand to a full 7, which is maybe a better play than this. It's hard to say. Obviously, if we had Beseech for Shieldred, it would have been quite good against PO, actually, which is funny. I didn't expect my opponent to play PO, of course. I don't really think that the Hull Breacher, Bowmaster stuff has really died down, nor has like Collector, Force of Vigor, Wastelands. All the cards that are good against PO are still good against PO and are still getting played. But of course, PO and, you know, also Coveted Jewel, those two decks are both, you know, of the power level needed to be played in Vintage. You can totally play a PO deck and win a tournament. I'm just, I question now for me personally, like, is it the best choice for a tournament? But it's a Vintage power level deck for absolutely sure. Anything you do where you build a Tinker Shell is going to be viable. It's just like, how good are your flex slots, right? So like you can play a Tinker Shell and put in Workshop Relic of Sauron. You can play a Tinker Shell and put in Initiative creatures. You can play a Tinker Shell, play Beseech the Mirror, play PO. I don't really believe that the last, you know, 15 cards in your Tinker Shell are going to change, you know, the viability of the Tinker Shell deck. You're still going to win so many games on the power of your restricted Esper's colored cards, or even Grixis colored cards, that your deck is always going to be playable, but it's just like, how much percentage can you gain from playing the correct 15 cards that will give you the most extra wins? And that's a hard question to answer. All right, opponent's spinning. They just need to find a new PO, and then they're off to the races again. They have an active land and a Sapphire, so... The biggest problem is, even if my opponent bricks on this PO, which is possible, the things that they would brick on are most likely going to be like Force of Wills and Flusterstorms. So like we're still not going to win the game. It's not going to really help us that they bricked if the bricks are just counterspells or Lavinia. Yeah, that's also bad for us too. Interesting, they didn't replay the Sapphire. Don't know why. We were super dead, of course. Just can't ever cast a spell through Lavinia. Our deck is really bad against Lavinia, and we played against it twice so far, but I think that both of our powerful opponents understand what's going on in the metagame right now, and the fact that Lavinia is super good against the decks that are being played makes a lot of sense to cast it. We are very, very, very in trouble here. I don't think this is a game that is going to be snuck out a win like our last one would be. Opponent just has too much mana, too much card looks, too many cards in hand. Last game they were missing cards in hand, and their mana was like a little bit less. Monastery Mentor. Damn. We're truly playing 2019 Esper PO, aren't we? That's why we held the Sapphire in our hand. Nice. I like it. Oh, they got 2 tops. So they have as many monks as they want to use mana. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to F6 until the end of my turn and let them make as many monks as they want. And then I'm going to attempt to top deck Time Vault as my only out. Playing some matches with TPS feels pretty good so far. I took out the Time Twister because I was scared of full Breachers and Battle and moved Karn to the main and added my Merchant to the side with Lattice. That's fine. That's totally fine. Karn had just like not been good for me, so I just stopped playing it. But that makes totally fine sense. So it takes top. This gets rid of 3 cards off the top of their library, which is kind of bad for us. Like, there's theoretically a world where there are cards in hand or like Fluster, and we top deck Time Vault and still win here. So, oh wait, we don't win with Time Vault unless we draw a land because we can't cast it. That's hilarious. Does Dress Down win? Maybe. Yeah, probably. If they don't have Flusters. They have some outs, is what I'm saying. Shieldred the Apocalypse. I would have liked you a turn ago. Guess we're just doing that still. Don't think we're winning if they do that, though. Let me spin this in case something comes up that makes more sense. I guess I can't draw. Oh, I found the Dress Down. That's hilarious. I wonder if the Shieldred buys me a turn. I can't draw with this top because of Narset, unfortunately. Dress Down was castable if we drew it exactly for turn while the Saga was still on suspend. I don't think we're ever going to be able to draw these cards because of Narset, though, so I don't think it matters. Okay, all right, my opponent has got the stuff. All right. So that was a weird game. We definitely could have resolved our Necropotence line, and that might have ended up in a win for us. So it's something to consider in the future. It was a little bit more risky because my opponent was representing Flusterstorm, but they didn't have a Flusterstorm, and we ended up waiting a turn, and one turn was too long. Just gonna bring in Mindbreak Trap and Opposition Agent. I like them both against this deck. I really wish I had a cut down in my deck so that I could kill Lavinia, but I don't think Dismember is going to kill Lavinia enough that it's going to be worth playing. So I think I'm just going to get that out. And then I'll just take out Twister, Chain. I mean, I've played against these like blue decks, and all I do is take out Chain and Twister every time. But I think it's important to have Chain in your deck for like mono white. And then what do I want to take out besides that? Maybe a land. Maybe a Watery Grave. Flusterstorm should be an issue here. I think Flusterstorm is just an issue for this deck in general. You're trying to resolve a 4-mana... Like, the nice part about playing PO against Flusterstorm is you can play on end step and like go for timing windows. Beseech just you can't do anything. Definitely a keeper this hand. It's all in obviously, but I think it's fine. I think this hand is actually Lotus, Brainstorm on blue mana, and then you play the One Ring instead of something like Lotus, Beseech. I guess theoretically I could... No, I think I like Brainstorm. All right, see, I found Force Blue card. The rest of my cards are quite bad, but finding Force Blue card is good enough. I hope. I wish I had a fetch land to shuffle away these cards, but I don't. All right, well, I have a Mana Crypt and a Ring and a Force, and then I have a bunch of uncastable Magic the Gathering cards. Can I win from here, knowing I'm drawing another uncastable on my upkeep? It seems doable. If I resolve any of these, I probably just straight win. I have a lot of chances, though I will need a lot of black mana. Hopefully we're drawing like a black land off of this one ring. Every crypt flip we lose is less cards we can draw as well. Well, I think this is worth doing. The Dark Ritual's not a bad draw, but not a good draw yet. Okay. They have Tinker and maybe Force Backup. Could be challenging. Let's just get rid of a Beseech, I guess. Was there any thought to play Shieldred? Sure, but the ring is better. I don't really think the Shieldred line, like the Shieldred line, all I do is play Shieldred and that's all I have. Whereas the ring line, I get to brainstorm and play the ring. I think it's just like a ton better. So if my opponent draws a Mox here and then tops into a blue card, they can Tinker with Force Backup, which is pretty good. It's possible I actually wanted to get rid of Shieldred rather than Beseech, just because I'm going to be pretty close to winning if I draw a Black Source. Probably am just winning. Should be a lethal Yogg-Will line. I'm going to draw 4 cards, and all of my Lorians are Black Sources, so it should be pretty likely that we win on the next turn. All right, Flooded Strand is played. Fetch is happening. I assume Demonic is happening then. I guess they could technically Demonic for a Black Lotus, and then Black Lotus a Tinker, and then Blind Draw for a... So if any blue card they drew is actually Tinker for... Wow, if they drew a blue card, it's actually Tinker with Force Backup. Now they get a spin? Maybe I should have just forced Lotus. Oh, too late now. Not good. I might have been... I actually think I was supposed to force the Lotus, which is kind of crazy. Maybe they have Flusterstorm back up now. They know they have a Force in hand and Unknown. They drew a blue card for turn. All right, so this means we're probably dead, as our opponent has resolved Citadel with top in play. My turn was good, but it wasn't good enough. Classic Esper Pio. Gonna get you. Tinker Citadel is the good cards. Damn. That's brutal. Don't really know what we could have done differently in this game. Obviously, we could have played a Shieldred instead of a ring, and maybe that's winning instead, but I feel like it's worse in general from there. A lot of Tinker Mirrors happening in Vintage right now. It's definitely possible to brick, but it seems pretty unlikely when they're at 10 cards already here. I like 3 top in PO. You need a lot of artifacts to enable your opal and stuff. And you always want to have 8 top in every game, basically. I can't imagine we're gonna come out of this in a place that we can actually resolve a spell, but if we do, it'd be pretty sweet. Like if we draw a black source and blue card force, I guess is a world that could happen. We are drawing 4 next turn total. My opponent can draw until they have wool like even lower, just so they can try to find time walk too. Here's an opal. It's weird they didn't hit any POs at all. They're 31 cards deep, right? They can't cast a PO off the top anymore. Okay, well now they can cast a draw PO and cast it from their hand, and that will be lock up the game. All they need is a time walk. It's pretty straightforward if they have it. All right, so now they're playing everything. It means they found a PO, and they're ready to win the game with it. It was pretty funny to me. In my YouTube comments today, I had someone who was like, "You conceded too early against PO," and I was like, "If anyone knows when to concede against PO, don't you think it would be me? Like, do you not trust me to tell you when you're dead playing PO? Like, I'll know." We can concede from here. The only thing we're playing towards at this point is my opponent like replaying a mana crypt or casting a spell by accident off the top of their library or anything like that. So we can just concede and save them the clicks. I don't think it's worth trying to get that win. All right, let's just check out our cards just in case. So there's our black source, and we would have had... Well, I mean, if our Dark Ritual gets countered, we actually have nothing, so... Not great. Not great. I mean, PO didn't really do anything in this game. In game 1, it definitely won the game, but in this game, it was just Tinker and restricted cards. I still stand by the Brainstorm plan instead of the Shieldred plan. I think it's just better. Obviously, we had a bunch of dead cards in our hand, and we didn't draw super well, but that's gonna happen. That's magic. Onwards and upwards. All right, here we go. Round 3 on the play. What do we got? Any turn 1 kills? Ooh, opponent is revealing something beforehand, so probably a Lurrus. Maybe Lurrus Control deck. That deck is hard for us to beat. So much counter magic. Wastelands. Very, very challenging matchup. I really don't like... I think, like, even if Beseech ended up being a good deck, it's always going to be so weak to Flusterstorm that it can never really be the best deck. It costs so much to cast a Beseech. It's just crazy. All right, opponent's playing some limited as well. So it might be in between games here. All right, opponent has revealed a cat, and our hand consists of... so we can go Vamp for Lotus and go for it. I think that's not worth it. I think I'd rather just like try to find a better 6. Is this a better 6? How was it a turn 1 win? What are you talking about? This hand is good if I don't lose my Urza Saga, but my opponent is playing Lurrus, so they're like 100% to have a Wasteland hand, so it's like really hard to justify. I guess theoretically I could maybe make triple black Beseech later, but I have to put a card back anyways. I think this hand is going to be a mulligan too. Okay. I don't think this is our best hand. It's not great though. Definitely not great. I think I'm going to put back Academy and Ritual. God, what a mess. Not a great 5-card hand, but maybe we can get towards a Tinker or an Ancestral on with Flusterstorm backup is our plan. If we get Wastelanded, it's okay because we have backup lands. Opponent has multiple Moxen and an Underground Sea. Looks like they're playing the blue-black control deck. Oh, I clicked through that. Okay. It's not a huge deal. Oh, it's a huge deal. Oh, I guess that wouldn't have mattered, so wouldn't have had the land anyways. All right, seems good. Okay, so that's the downside, unfortunately, of misclicking through my end step. I don't get to cast a Time Walk this turn. That's pretty bad for me. Oh, boy. I should have just yielded until end step. Opponent has all of the Moxen. It's going to be so hard to do anything in this game. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I was winning this game anyways because my opponent is just going off with their Ancestral Recall and power pieces, but... Alright, well, that takes out the Ancestral line. So it's basically looking for a Tinker line, but casting and resolving Tinker against the control deck is really, really hard to do. A single Flusterstorm is just going to end my chances there. What is this? Oh, well, in that case, I will just hit this. It's fine. Means we lost our piece of counter magic, but I think worth. Okay, so... Natural draw, Ruby, go get a blue. I mean, I kind of wish I almost wish I didn't even counter that. My opponent didn't play a land that turn though, right? They just untapped and cast. I wish I had a counter spell. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we just tinker and hope it's for the best, right? Well, I guess we could tinker for Vault Key if we get a manifold key here, and then we get a land and we mystical time walk for a tinker. Is that like better? Yeah, I guess that's better. Oh no, it's not better because because we don't have enough mana. But what we do have is we can just go Citadel and we have extra outs afterwards. If we go Yogwill, we have nothing. It's kind of unfortunate we don't have any other like strong plays, right? Can't go Twister or anything. Nah, it's just Tinker. All right, cool. Well, our opponent could always not have any counter magic, and that's why they cast Lorien Revealed. Like, if they had a Force of Will, they probably wouldn't have cast Lorien Revealed. Like, say, if they had only a Force of Will, I guess. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, this is fine, I guess. No, they can't remove Vault Key. Okay, so they did have Force of Will, Spell Pierce. The nice part about this sequence is it does give us outs where we can just draw Time Vault. But... they didn't put a Lurrus in hand, so I assume this is not going to end well for me, but at least we have a plan. My best draw is... Oh, I was going to say a land and they had no counter magic, but I don't think that's going to happen either. Oh, that's a winner if this all resolves. Nope. Have another counter. Okay, so now we're drawing to Yogwill and the mana to cast Yogwill. Oh, they have top key. It's doomed. This matchup is so hard because opponent's deck is just a super control deck that has both wastelands and a million counterspells. Very hard to deal with for us. We're a little too all in with not enough protection to kind of beat this matchup. This matchup is really, really bad. I think I've lost like 4 or 5 matches against this deck. I mean, we made a good deal out of it, right? We played at least 2 game-winning spells, and they just hadn't resolved an Ancestral Recall, so they had too much counter magic. Not really much to say. Pretty brutal. Not really sure what we can do in this matchup. All right, I'm just off it. Let's go next. We don't particularly have great answers to what they're doing. I think we do want a Needle on Wasteland, though. So I'm going to bring in Opposition Agent and Needle, and I'm going to take out Chain Twister, which is like the same thing we do in every board that's... We've just only played against blue decks streaming this deck, so I think I've boarded the same way like 8 times. I swear there are other decks in the format, but we definitely haven't come across them. All right, what do we got? We've got turn 1 Beseech for... We either can go turn 1 Beseech for Necro, or we can play an hold up Opposition Agent Lorien Revealed. I think I'd rather just Beseech for Necro. I think I'd rather just Beseech. Could technically put a Shield Trade in play as well. Oh, they just have negation. Okay. See, like we had to use 3 cards to do that, and they only used 2. So, all right, okay. I see you, opponent. I see you. I see you. It's really good when the control deck gets to refuel their Force of Will with an Ancestral Recall. Okay. Man, I don't even want to like search for my extra land because it's my blue card for Force. Unfortunate. They're holding up Hardcast Force. I think I'm just gonna search for a land, hope to draw a blue card. Skill issue. I should instead start with Force Ancestral in my hand. I kind of agree. You bring up a good point. Ugh, not a great draw there. Makes me wish I hadn't cycled, but all right. Yeah, I think I'm gonna need Force backup for this. Saga. Yeah, things are bad. Things are bad. I need a Force. I need a blue card, I think. Man, this game is challenging, huh? All right, well, maybe there's an avenue with that. Oh, well, I will try to resolve this. So I'm going to do it now. Try to get their Urza Saga trigger. They also don't have enough to hardcast Force anymore. Ooh, Resolve. They have removal. Wow. Okay. So my opponent has Saga, Bowmaster, Pierce. They have 1,000,000 power in play. So if I steal their Black Lotus and get my Black Lotus, then I can beat a Spell Pierce. What if instead I steal their Soul Ring? Play a Soul Ring and a Black Lotus and play Citadel. I have to get through Pierce and Fluster to win, and I can't draw too many cards because of Bowmaster, and I'm going to have half of my life if they make it unblockable. I'm going to block if they let me block. I'm just going to take Black Lotus. It's fine. Like, it's obviously if I give them the Black Lotus, they can Lurrus it back, but I don't think this game is going to go more than another turn anyways. So I'm just going to block here and give myself the best opportunity to win with this Citadel. Because I know their whole hand, so I'm just going to play Citadel and try to win with it. I think that's the only reasonable option. I don't even think I'm making a construct or anything. That's going to help a lot. Okay. Yeah, let's do it. Oh, wow. Maybe I was supposed to make a thing and then needle Manifold Key. No, I kind of want to be able to Manifold Key on my turn and go off in infinite turns anyways. I definitely want my own Black Lotus for Yogwill. I want their Black Lotus. And then I'm going to not use the Black Lotuses to start. I'm going to cast this. All right, we know their hand is Bowmaster, Fluster, Spell Pierce. We need to win this game from 20 life through those magic cards. And we have a Mystical, so... From 19 life, I'm sorry. All right, Watery Grave is our starting card. Okay. Oh, I don't get to know what my top card is as it enters? I think I can hit no here. Time Walk, that's a good one. See if they counter it. Ancestral Recall. Probably going to take the 4 damage to cast Ancestral Recall, I imagine. We could even Mystical for Flusterstorm if we wanted to. I probably won't because Mystical for Yogwill will just win the game, so... We kind of just need them... I really want them to actually like counter my spells so that I can just win with better spells. Okay, that one resolves. I guess we'll cast this one. Don't mind taking 3 damage for it. I think that's okay. Not really worried about this. Is it worth it to take 2? Sure, it's fine. Top. I have to know that my last card is like super Flusterstorm counterable here. Ritual. Kind of want to spin that. Just looking for... Okay, that's just lethal. They can't do anything about this. Awesome. Pretty nice win. Op Agent did Lord's work there. Looked at their hand. Determined what was in it, gave us a Black Lotus. Opposition Agent's been nice for me recently. All right, that's a nice sneaky little win we got there. After our opponent not only countered our first spell that cost us 3 cards, and then also resolved Ancestral Recall, we still won that game. Kind of sick. I don't want to make any changes. Could have Mind Break traps if I wanted them. Just for Stack Wars? Probably not. Let's run it back. Yeah, Opposition Agent was not counterable by Spell Pierce or Flusterstorm. True. Very important. All right, what do we got? We got the all-in turn 1 hand. Sure. I came here to jam, right, chat? Chat, you came here to jam, right? What's my impression of Beseech? It's a very powerful card, but it's a very costly and vulnerable card. We came here to jam for sure. All right, how are we jamming though? That's the real question. My opponent's holding up Spell Pierce Flusterstorm. Jeez. All right. What are we doing? What are we doing with this hand? Oh, I don't even know. We have so many choices. I feel like we just play all of our fast mana out to start. We could get dazed. All right, let's go Pearl, Ruby, Jet, Sapphire. Sorry, Pearl, Lotus. I don't know if I said Ruby. And then we'll get our jewelry in play. And then from here, we'll Dark Ritual. See what they have to say about that. Okay. Can we Demonic Vault, Key, and Beseech? No. What if we just Demonic for Flusterstorm and then go for a Beseech win? It's got to be like Beseech, Yogwill, right? All right, we're doing it. Hopefully they have one counter spell. Well, that's true. We can just cast Tendrils and make them have Flusterstorm. How many copies do we have right now? I think we need to copy at least... We could just do at least one more. So if we do it now, we have a total of 10. So if they have like a counter spell, just do one more. Oh, they don't have anything. Oh, it was one counter. Let's go. F6. God bless. Okay, here we go. Last time we played against Karate, they were on Squee. See if they abandoned that plan after going not so great in the challenge. This hand holds up in Brainstorm, Fluster, and then yeah, this is a bunch of really powerful cards. Obviously, it doesn't currently work in its entirety, but I think we can get there. This will be the hand where I cast a Brainstorm on end step, and the Legacy player who watches this in a year will comment, "This person doesn't know how to use Brainstorm," and then I'll tell them, "No, you don't understand, Legacy player. We need to use we need to use our mana efficiently." I'm only saying that because it happened to me recently. Like on a year-old video, a Legacy player came in and said, "How dare you end step Brainstorm? You're terrible at this game." And I was like, "What? That's so out of pocket. We're dueling?" Disappointed in you, son. All right, well, I guess we're brainstorming for a Force of Will. Unlucky. Well, we can probably win next turn. Let's put back I guess we might be able to keep Fluster if we put back Probe, Sapphire, get Underground Sea, Dark Ritual, Demonic, Lotus, Kill is probably true still. Can I do that with Fluster backup? Dark Ritual, Demonic, Lotus, Yogwill with Fluster backup. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna put back Sapphire and Probe, and then we'll Lorien for an Underground Sea, and then go for a kill next turn with Flusterstorm backup, where we play Underground Sea, cast Dark Ritual, Demonic, Lotus, Yogwill, Tinker, or something like that. And then, yeah. Okay. No, I just don't think you need to do that. Like your other targets for Beseech are so good that you don't need to play bad like Gaia's Will cards like that. I think every time a lot of people really want me to play like the suspend cards, but you just don't need to play bad cards. You can just only play good cards and you'll be fine. So I would just like, get Tinker or get Necropotence or Shieldred or something like that, right? We are so dead here. Opponent is easily turn one killing us. Oh, we're not getting turn one killed. That's nice. Opponent's going to pass with 11 cards in hand. All right, well, we might be able to win this game. Though it's going to be tough. So we can go for a double Citadel activation is what we can do here. So I'm going to go Underground Sea, Dark Ritual, Demonic, Lotus, Yog. Oh, shit. I guess I actually have to go... If I do that, if I want to win the game on this turn, I have to hold my Yogwill. So what we might want to do instead is take infinite turns and build the perfect hand to pass the turn, maybe? So we can beat the One Ring protection by activating Citadel twice. It's just quite hard to activate Citadel twice if we use our Yogwill. Actually, it's probably impossible to activate Citadel twice if I use my Yogwill now. See if this gets countered first, I guess. Because if it gets countered and I have to use my Flusterstorm, that means I need to go for Lotus anyways, so... Is it safe to assume opponent has more than one counter? No, absolutely not. My opponent's deck is actually really low on counters. It only has 4 Force of Wills, and it only has like 16 total blue cards. So it's safe to assume that my opponent probably has maybe one counter. So I think I am just going to go Lotus, crack Lotus for black, Yogwill, crack Lotus for blue, Demonic, Tinker, and try to take infinite turns here, and then build out my best possible past the turn pile. I think that's my best play here. I could always leave an untapped time vault, so if they try to take an extra turn, we can take an extra turn first. Maybe. Just trying to think about how this is going to work out. All right, so I'm going to go Black Lotus, cast Black Lotus, blue mana, black mana, Yogwill. They're going to draw a card looking for a counter. They have a counter. I have a counter. Do they have a second counter? Doesn't look like it. So Black Lotus, Ritual, Demonic. This has to be Tinker for Citadel. It's really my only way. I can't target them with tendrils, but I guess I can target myself with tendrils, and it just costs me 4 life and does nothing, right? Or do I want to draw past it with Brainstorm so I don't lose my tendrils? But I can't use my tendrils until next turn anyway, so I don't think there's any use to having tendrils anyways, because all my cards are going to get exiled now because I have a Yogwill. Every card I cast gets exiled. Or every card that goes to my graveyard gets exiled. So I think I just need to tendrils myself. Wait, I can't have the copies target them, right? No. Shieldred Wheel. Okay, that's another thing we can do. We will have to probably have a Bola Citadel activation as well. Well, we might not even get to that point because our Citadel is bricking currently. All right, 2 castables on top. All right, our Citadel can brick here. I guess I have another Lorien now. Okay, so now I have Beseech. So I can definitely Beseech my Soul Ring and put that into a Time Vault. All right, so I think we are going to win this game. And the way we're going to win this game is with 1 Citadel activation and 1 Shieldred Time Twister. All right, there's my Time Twister. We need to hold that one in hand. And then... we can just cast this. We can cast this and just put a... I don't know if it matters very much. I guess we could get a vamp, make this faster, but I don't think that's... I think this is fine. That's fine. So then we can Beseech for a Shieldred. And then I think we need to do the 10 permanents before we twist, just for extra value here. Do I have 10 permanents left? I guess that's something we need to find out as well. I don't know why I did that. I guess we'll find that out when we just cast Beseech for normal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, we have enough permanents, and we can get saga tokens too. So that's fine. Saga tokens might just be enough in general. I can't recall them on upkeep, chat. My opponent has protection from everything. I'm not doing this super optimally, but I don't think I have to. Just going to try to get as much stuff into my hand as I can. And then we're going to do the thing. As long as I continue to take a turn every time. So you. Draw that Sensei's top. Go get a jet. An emerald. A thing. This is, they lose life, right? Okay, that is, they lose life. Saga. So now I can one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Can kill it now. So I activate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I wheel. And protection doesn't matter in Vintage. That was a really cool turn. What is protection? What is protection, really? Very nice. That was pretty sick. Thanks for the raid, Tony. Hope you had a good stream. Oh, this is not what I'm trying to do here. Okay, so against Jewel, I'm going to bring in Trap, Recall. I don't think we're going to bring in Op Agent. It's just hitting Sagas, really. Don't think we're going to bring in Needle for Saga either. Should just be able to win through that. I actually think Twister is fine in this matchup. Chain is kind of bad. Don't think we need a Watery Grave here. You did it? You've solved Mono Blue PO in Legacy? That's pretty hype. I'll have to check it out when I get a chance. That's very hype. What else do I want to take here? Awesome. Sweet. Need to figure out one more card to take out. I'm not sure what it's going to be. All my cards are reasonable. I guess I could take out Probe. I'll just take out Probe, Watery Grave, and Chain of Vapor and bring in some counters. Nice. Have a good day. Okay. So we've got another hand with Flusterstorm. This hand, I mean, I'm going to keep this hand. If my opponent like waits it out, then the traps definitely get worse. But I mean, my opponent's never going to wait it out. This is Jewel. I think I actually hit that one with trap. I have a second trap anyways. Could really hamper their mana sources. Oh, nice. Now we just need an artifact to Beseech. Or even an Urza Saga to Beseech. Almost assuredly going for end-step Brainstorm. Maybe there's like some upside in going Brainstorm now, but I think it's okay. Like if my opponent goes Sapphire PO, I'm going to want to have Flusterstorm. Ancient Tomb, 5 mana. Okay. Let's just go with the maximize our mana usage. We need to find something here. We did. We found it. Okay. So if we put back Mental Misstep Yogwill, we draw Yogwill, and we go Jet Academy, Ritual Beseech with Flusterstorm backup. Not that I think Flusterstorm backup is going to get us very far if they have Force. Just should be good, though. Okay, Jet. So we're going to go Jet, Academy, blue mana, black mana, dark ritual. Beseech for Lotus. So cast Beseech with bargain, get Beseech. Cast Beseech without bargain, get Lotus. Cast Lotus, cast Yogwill, Tendril Storm, kill our opponent. Is that going to be the plan here? Unfortunately, if my opponent has Force of Will exactly right now, I can't Flusterstorm them, so. But then we can at least maybe get a Yogwill on the next turn. It's possible. Oh, no, we can't because there's a Mental Misstep coming, right? Well, Beseech is a very all-in magic card. I had to sack an artifact to do this. I wonder if I didn't have to sack an artifact to do this. I guess I could theoretically have not sacked an artifact to do this. Well, now, if my opponent has Flusterstorm, the storm count will be 5. And so it's fine. So I'm just going to cast Beseech without bargain. So now I should be winning no matter what, right? Because I have Flusterstorm for 6 total. So keep Beseech, cast Beseech, get Yogwill. Get Lotus. Cast Lotus, cast Yogwill, cast Lotus, cast Jet, cast Dark Ritual, cast Beseech. Well, my opponent can have Force of Will, pitching blue card, is what I'm saying. But it's past the point where that works now, so. And then this is a clean Storm kill with Flusterstorm backup. Let's go! This was a sick match. We kind of crushed it. Opponent, like, I have protection, and I said, no, no, no. Oh, did I say the wrong cards in the wrong order? Sorry. I have the Fluster. My opponent could have had the Force. That was pretty clean, though. I like that a lot. Not a bad 3-1. Not a bad 3-1. We played against, what, 4 blue Tinker decks? Is that a true statement? No, our third matchup was a blue control deck. So we beat 3 blue Tinker decks, and we lost to a... No, we lost to PO, right? How did we win this round? I don't even remember. No, I haven't bought my copies of Breach because I actually think this card is, like, very, very beatable if it becomes, like, a deck that's prevalent. Like... just having Flusterstorm in your deck makes Beseech, like, so bad. If your opponents have Flusterstorms, this card is, like, embarrassingly bad. You're playing a 4-mana sorcery that costs a Dark Ritual to cast and a artifact on bargain. It's, like, even worse than getting your Tinker Flusterstormed. It's crazy. But it's powerful. This card is... So, like, that's my end-all, be-all here. This card is powerful enough for Vintage and does a very powerful thing. It's worse than getting like your doom. Yeah, like if your opponent is playing Doomsday, it's really bad for you. If your opponent is playing any deck with Flusterstorms, I think it's kind of bad for you. But yeah, like I said, this deck is at the power level it needs to be. There's definitely room to work with inside this shell, but I think this is a really, really strong starting point. I kind of failed to see like obvious changes that will make this deck stronger. But I think this is a pretty compelling shell. And the things it's doing is powerful, and having access to 4 more tutors to find like the real good cards of the format in Yogg-Will, Tinker, Twister, Shieldred, the One Ring, is really nice. I don't know the answer. I think the answer is this is going to be a thing people play and try for a while, and then if it ends up being something that's good, then people will adapt and it will be pushed away. Kind of like the One Ring was, actually. The One Ring was definitely a power level that is needed to be, it hits the power level you need for Vintage, but then once people adapted to the Ring decks did super poorly, right? So that's kind of my evaluation. I think this is a good list going forward. You'll definitely see this list being played this weekend. I'm interested to see how it goes. Hopefully I find someone who's playing the Vintage Challenge on Saturday who is willing to do data. I can't make the next Saturday challenge. I'm going to be away tomorrow. So I need to find people to do data for tomorrow. So hopefully we figure that out. More Vintage videos Monday, Wednesday, Friday on this YouTube channel. I will see you then.